not only indirectly on gambling and franchise values and events, but where the sports industry is going. Andy Bush. We're here at the Volunteer of America LPGA Texas Classic that is so important to the community and the golf industry important. We're on the heels of a report that talked about an $85 billion economic impact from the golf industry. I think that's understated. And somebody who is directly involved in causing a lot of that impact, the EVP of Intergalactic Events for Octagon Worldwide Global Events, Andy Bush. How are you?
Very well, Rick. Glad to have you here.
Thank you. You like the idea of running this planet and others as well?
Yeah, I'd like a solar system.
I will tell you what, if there are golf events on Mars, he will be the first one to run them. I guarantee you that. So 7 professional golf tournaments, probably more, the CME, the Chubb Classic, SAS, others, obviously the LPGA event, the Women in Tech Championship in Indy, which is something that started last year, and now the Volunteer of America Classic, the Texas LPGA Texas Classic. What is the story of this particular event and how you came to be involved in this one?
This event had been around for a few years in Dallas, a different part of Dallas. We took a look at it. They were trying to find their feet in this market. It's a big market with a lot going on. We got to know Mike King and Volunteers of America, an unbelievable organization. So in the fall, part of it was we needed a new look. We needed a new a new logo, a new lease. We needed to find a new partner. So I looked at probably 15 golf courses in and around the region, and I was about ready to cut a deal on my way out of town, and through a friend of a friend in Oklahoma, I was told about Old American. I met their general manager, Mike McCabe, and after about 30 minutes, his enthusiasm, his passion for his property, the way he talked about his ownership group in Matthews Southwest, it was a very easy sign that this was a long-term partner to actually build something with. The golf course itself is kind of non-traditional for Texas. It's spectacular on the lake, the views, very linksy style. It just felt like a home very quickly. So it was a very easy decision to kind of move here.
Easy decision to move here, but maybe not so easy to set up an event with all of the things that happen. You've set up millions of events, or a lot of them in your life. Give us a snapshot of a typical kind of frenzied last week. What has to happen between, let's say, the Monday or Tuesday before and the first time the Pro-Am happens?
I think the big thing for me is you got to have great partners. It's not something we can do alone. The city of Colony was beyond spectacular in all of their civil services and stepping up to help us. The Tribute community, we had a lot of these homeowners out helping hang signs, mesh, ropes, stakes, every part of the process, and getting their hands dirty to make sure their week was a success. And then the team from Matthews Southwest, we've changed the whole landscape here in the last 3 months. We've laid roads, we've built, taken down berms, moved earth, pretty much everything to have the infrastructure to even build what we built. So long term, we're set up to build this to be one of the biggest events on tour versus just getting by. So this first year was about perfect execution, introducing the tour to the golf course and our community here in the Colony. And next year is really how we start to go big.
Long-term snapshot, generic, not necessarily this event, but every other event you do. How do you measure success, not only for the fans, but for the athletes and for the sponsors?
Biggest thing for us first is community impact. I mean, you have to feel like you have a home. You have to feel like you're wanted and welcome. I mean, our staff move here. They live in the community. I think that's our first measurement. The players, especially on this tour, are going to always deliver, and we don't control how they deliver that. So we really need to create an environment where people see long-term benefit to their community. They see the economic impact. We continue to develop programs to engage more than just golf fans. So be very, very inclusive to all economic levels, to be very inclusive to everyone in our community and make sure they want to be here that week.
When you look at your mandate, which is in a lot of your materials, it's, quote, committed to creating opportunities for brands to engage with fans and drive results. So that's just not empty. I've seen you do that all over the country. Explain it.
Well, it depends on your partners, right? I mean, we're lucky with our 7 events on this tour. Their primary mission isn't about what they can sell. It's a much more passive way in building an event to create an experience. And they know if they do those things really well, it'll either change their community and their company will benefit, whether it's their talent or their product. So That approach first for us has really worked in creating our events that are continue to be not 3 years, 10 and 20-year more legacy programs.
And when you look at the studies, they're talking about $4 to $6 billion raised philanthropically over a certain period of time for the golf industry. I also think that's understated. But how important is the philanthropic aspect, and how important is using sports and golf to raise money for philanthropy? Volunteers America here, Group 1001, and the Guggenheim for Women in Tech, and on and on.
It's interesting. Our events bring people together. I mean, that's the nature of sports, right? So when people are together and they're in that environment, you can actually create things. You put a lot of good, smart people together and they rally around a passion. One of your guests, Ann Stanford, just had her event on Monday. Everything that Mike and his team have done and a relationship that he's even started with Matthews Southwest just from this tournament, finding a golf course and the greater good of that. So I don't want to belittle the golf course aspect of it, but Mike and the VOA team and the Matthews Southwest team will do a hell of a lot more good over time together than we will.
Look at your massive octagon crystal ball, a global leader in events and industry and trends. What's the golf business look like 5 years from now?
You know, we're still bullish. We're bullish on this tour. I would have said 3 years ago, 3 or 4 of these would be great. We're now at 7. I'd like to have 10 based on the right situations and markets. So we feel the ladies' game still is not getting its due, and we need to help them in that and leverage every asset we have in our partners, some of the largest companies in the world. So. And
not an octagon infomercial, clearly, but the synergies related to the kinds of things that you all can do as a full-service organization, the globalization, the media outreach, aligning sponsors, there's a lot to do.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's a lot to put together, but I think you look at every company is trying to touch consumers and fans in more ways, and we need to do that in sports and cross-promote our sports. And how do we do what the NBA is doing really, really well and kind of ahead of the rest of the crew, what they're looking at in augmented reality and VR to adapting that to women's game and so on and so forth, and cross-promote those with music, culinary, lifestyle events. So when you come to your week, right, it is a week that fulfills everyone's ambition or need.
And the one thing that I'm very clear about is when we do colonize Mars and put the golf tournaments on, this will be the first person we hire.